The void was silent. A silence so complete it pressed against the senses, filling the corridors of the flagship Eclipse with a heavy anticipation. Commander Kalen Draven stood at the command console, eyes fixed on the galactic map hovering above the display. Millions of points of light represented worlds, alien worlds, but one point, once blue and vibrant, had been erased from existence. Earth. Gone. Wiped clean by the Galactic Council 4 millennia ago. Sir, Lieutenant Riatanis said, her voice taut with barely contained excitement. All systems nominal. Shields at full capacity. Fleet is in formation. We are ready to execute Phase 1. Kalen didn't look at her. His mind was already thousands of light years away, reliving memories that were not his, yet had been passed down as collective human anguish. He could see Earth burning. He could feel the screams of millions who had no chance against the Council's annihilation fleet. And he remembered the vow humanity had made as they scattered across the stars. We will return. We will take what was ours. Phase 1 begins now, Kalen said, voice low but unyielding. He pressed a sequence into the console. Across the fleet, millions of human warships broke formation, slipping into subspace. They emerged silently, just outside the outer rim of Council-controlled territory, a shadow army poised to strike. The aliens didn't notice them at first. They never did. The Council had always underestimated humanity, viewing them as primitive, disorganized, unworthy of serious consideration. That arrogance would be their undoing. Enemy patrols detected, reported Rhea. 2 frigates, 10 destroyers, nothing more. Kalen's lips curled into a faint, sharp smile. Numbers mean nothing. We've been waiting 4,000 years for this moment. Let them come. The Eclipse surged forward, and with a low hum that resonated through the hull, it opened fire. Plasma beams lanced out, striking the nearest destroyer before it could react. Explosions blossomed in silent fireworks against the black of space. From the observation deck, Kalen watched with clinical fascination. This was more than a battle, it was a statement. Every shot fired was a promise that humanity had endured. That humanity had evolved. That humanity would not be erased. Sir, Rhea said, pointing to the tactical display. The destroyers are retaliating. Kalen leaned over the console, fingers dancing across the controls. Let them. Their shields are outdated. Their tactics predictable. Just like the Council always assumed about us. The destroyers launched volleys of missiles, each one tracked and obliterated by the human fleet's automated defense systems. Kalen's eyes glimmered with cold satisfaction. Humans had grown smarter, faster, deadlier. They had turned what once was a survival instinct into a weapon of unmatched precision. He turned to his tactical officers. Prepare boarding pods. If any survive, I want prisoners. We extract information. Every detail about Council strategies, fleet locations, and command hierarchies will be ours. A young ensign, barely 20, hesitated. Sir, that's necessary, Kalen interrupted, voice firm. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to reclaim. Every decision has a cost, and we've already paid in blood, in centuries of exile. Do not falter now. The ensign swallowed hard and nodded. Around him, the bridge hummed with disciplined efficiency. Fear was present, yes, but it was tempered by purpose. Every human aboard the Eclipse and its fleet carried the weight of history. Every hand on a control, every eye on a screen, every heartbeat, was synchronized with one collective mission, vengeance. A sudden alert flashed across the main display. Incoming transmission, said Rhea. Kalen raised an eyebrow. Patch it through. The view flickered, and a jagged, distorted image of Archon Velith appeared, his alien features twisted in disbelief. His voice crackled through the speakers, condescending and dripping with arrogance. Humans! I should have known you would return, Velith sneered. After 4,000 years, you still dare to challenge the Council? Kalen's jaw tightened. We are not challenging. We are reclaiming. Your arrogance is entertaining. Velith's eyes narrowed. Do you truly understand the power you face? Your species is insignificant. A forgotten footnote in galactic history. Kalen's fingers hovered over the comm panel. Insignificant? Perhaps to you. But history is written by the survivors. And you, Archon, are about to be erased from its pages. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving a cold void in the bridge. Kalen took a deep breath. This was only the beginning. The Council would respond with their full might, but that was exactly what humanity wanted. They were no longer scattered colonies. They were a united force, a weapon honed over centuries. Sir, Rhea said, her voice quieter now, almost reverent. The fleet is ready to engage the outer defense grid. Kalen stepped forward, placing both hands on the command console. The weight of command pressed on him, but he bore it easily. He looked out the observation viewport at the expanse of darkness, dotted with alien stars and distant worlds that had once ruled over humanity with impunity. Target the lead turrets. Deploy drones to disable communications. We hit them hard, and we hit them fast. Today, the Council will remember Earth. A subtle shiver of anticipation ran through the bridge. The first shots of the campaign had already begun. Plasma beams streaked across the void, shields flared, and explosions lit up the darkness like false stars being born and dying in moments. Kalen allowed himself a brief, fleeting smile. This was more than vengeance. It was a statement to the galaxy. Humans were back, and they were unstoppable. The eclipse surged forward, cutting through the Council defenses like a blade. For the first time in 4,000 years, humanity was not hiding. Humanity was not running. Humanity was taking what had been stolen, and nothing in the galaxy could stand against it. And somewhere deep in the void, Kalen felt a single, profound certainty. The galaxy was about to remember the name of Earth. The outer rim of Council space was a labyrinth of fortified stations and orbital defense platforms, each designed to detect even the faintest anomaly. But humans had learned to move like shadows. The fleet of the Eclipse glided through the void, silent, invisible to the sensors that once would have betrayed them. Scanning for secondary defenses, Lieutenant Rhea Tanis reported. Her fingers moved over the console with surgical precision. Sensors indicate minimal activity. They've assumed the outer rim is secure. They've forgotten how clever we are. Kalen's lips curved into a faint, almost predatory smile. Clever? We are more than clever. We are evolution perfected. 4,000 years of adaptation and survival. And tonight they learn that lesson the hard way. At his order, the human fleet split into rapid strike groups. Plasma cannons hummed, and targeting systems synchronized with the precision of a symphony. The first salvo hit the Council's defense grid with devastating accuracy. Explosions rippled outward, sending debris spinning through the void like meteors in a violent dance. Outer turrets disabled. Communications disrupted. Shields weakening, Rhea announced. They're trying to respond, but it's too late. Our strategy is flawless. Kalen's eyes never left the viewport. The alien ships were responding now, but predictably. Their maneuvers were rigid, their formations classical in a way that made them easy prey for humans who had studied them for centuries. Engage boarding drones, Kalen commanded. Pods detached from the Eclipse, hurtling silently toward crippled destroyers. Magnetic clamps latched onto hulls, and teams of elite soldiers infiltrated Council ships. The human boarding parties moved with lethal efficiency. On board a Council destroyer, chaos reigned. Alien crews scrambled to man damaged turrets. The human soldiers moved like shadows, eliminating resistance with swift precision. Kalen watched the live feeds on the Eclipse. Noticed their confusion. He murmured to Rhea. They expected a fleet. They didn't anticipate strategy. They didn't anticipate humans. Meanwhile, an unexpected alert sounded on the tactical board. Sir, multiple warp signatures detected. Reinforcements, Rhea said, a sharp edge of concern in her voice. Kalen's jaw tightened. Of course. The Council never learns until it's too late. Prepare the fleet for counter-engagement. Deploy decoy formations and concentrate fire on the lead capital. The Council reinforcements emerged from warp with arrogant confidence. Massive battleships glided into view, each dwarfing the human vessels. Their weapons activated with blinding energy, and the void erupted into a deadly ballet of fire and steel. "Target their engines, not their hulls!" Kalen shouted. "We need mobility, not brute force. Hit their propulsion systems and disable command structures. Focus on efficiency, not glory." The human fleet responded with breathtaking coordination. Plasma beams struck engines and turrets, while rapid-fire drones infiltrated weaker points, sowing chaos. The Council had underestimated the humans' adaptability and coordination. Every move the aliens made was met with a precise human counter. In the middle of the chaos, Kalen's comm panel crackled. "Commander Draven, this is Captain Loris from the Vanguard Division. We've sustained heavy damage, 5 ships down. But morale is high. The enemy's confusion is unprecedented." Kalen's gaze hardened. "Good. Losses are regrettable but expected. Every setback is part of a greater strategy. Press the attack, Captain. Remember why we fight. Remember Earth." In the midst of battle, one of Kalen's intelligence officers, Ensign Mira Solon, interrupted. "Sir, anomaly detected in the fleet. One of our ships is broadcasting unauthorized signals. Possible sabotage." Kalen's eyes narrowed. "Identify immediately. If this is a Council infiltration, they will pay with blood." The feed revealed a human vessel under covert control, sending signals that could compromise their position. Kalen felt a cold wave of rage. Centuries of planning, fleets, technology, all at risk because of one traitor, one manipulated pawn. "Lock onto the source," Kalen ordered. "Neutralize it quietly. No public panic. This fleet moves as one. No deviation." As the battle raged, Kalen allowed himself a brief reflection. The Council had always underestimated humanity's spirit. They thought survival meant weakness, but weakness had bred ingenuity, and desperation had forged strategy. For 4,000 years, humans had trained, evolved, and prepared. Tonight, the galaxy witnessed the result. Suddenly, a burst of Council fire struck the eclipse, shaking the flagship violently. Alarms blared. Ria's voice rose above the noise. "Shields at 70%, sir! They're concentrating fire on us!" Kalen slammed his hand on the console. "Divert all power to forward shields and propulsion. Prepare counter-strike volley. Focus every weapon system on their lead battleship. Hit them where they're weakest, underestimate us at your peril." The human fleet responded like a living organism, each vessel anticipating the next move of its siblings. Plasma beams streaked through the void, striking alien ships with precise, unrelenting force. Explosions cascaded in waves, sending fragments of metal spinning into the darkness. Amid the chaos, Kalen allowed himself a rare smile. The Council had underestimated them for millennia, and now the humans were reclaiming what was stolen. Each victory, small or large, was a message written in fire and plasma. Humanity had returned, and they were not to be trifled with. In the final moments of the engagement, the Council's lead battleship was crippled, its engines destroyed, and command compromised. Its crew surrendered, or fled. Either way, the humans had won the first major strike. Kalen surveyed the battlefield. Dozens of Council vessels had been destroyed, their outer defense grid shattered. The galaxy was watching. And humanity was sending a clear, undeniable message: they were back, and vengeance was only the beginning. Ria glanced at Kalen. "Sir, the fleet has sustained losses, but we've achieved complete strategic dominance in this sector." Kalen's voice was steady, resolute. "This is the first wave. Remember, we fight for Earth, for humanity, for every soul erased by their arrogance. Prepare the fleet for the next engagement. The Council thinks this is a battle. They don't yet realize it is a war they cannot win." Above them, the void shimmered with distant stars. And in that darkness, one truth remained undeniable: humanity had returned. And nothing, not even the might of the Galactic Council, would stop them. The battlefield had gone silent, but silence in space was never truly peace. The human fleet hovered near the remnants of the Council's shattered outposts, engines humming softly, sensors scanning for threats. Commander Kalen Draven stood on the bridge of the Eclipse, eyes sharp, mind already planning the next strike. Victory had been theirs, but it was only the beginning. Lieutenant Rhea Tanis approached, her expression tense. "Sir, the anomaly from earlier. We traced it to one of our own ships. It's transmitting coordinates and fleet movements to the Council." Kalen's jaw clenched. "Which ship?" "Vanguard 1, under Captain Loris' command," Rhea replied. Kalen's face hardened. "Impossible. Captain Loris is loyal. He would never." He paused, the weight of suspicion settling over him like a cold shadow. "Someone's manipulating him. Prepare a containment team." Quietly. "We cannot afford panic." As Rhea moved to follow orders, Kalen's mind raced. 4,000 years of careful preparation, every secret, every fleet movement, and now a potential traitor, or worse, a Council agent embedded among them. Humans had survived exile, rebellion, and near extinction, but the battle was no longer only against alien fleets, it was against treachery from within. Meanwhile, deep within the Eclipse, Ensign Mira Solon and her intelligence team were decrypting the compromised signals. What they uncovered sent chills through their ranks. Hidden within the transmissions were instructions for sabotage, a plan to disable human communications and key weapon systems during the next engagement. The Council had orchestrated a puppet battle from afar, exploiting trust. Kalen's voice cut through the tension. "Assemble the inner council in the command room. It's time we confront this head-on." The human officers gathered, a mix of tension, fear, and determination reflected in their eyes. Kalen's gaze swept over them. "We have a traitor among us. Or perhaps not a traitor, but a manipulated pawn. Either way, failure is not an option. We cannot let the Council undermine our mission. Do you understand?" Every officer nodded solemnly. "Yes, sir," came the chorus. Kalen turned to Rhea. "Prepare a strike team. Captain Loris and his command crew will be intercepted before the next engagement. Subdue, but preserve life. We need answers." Hours later, Kalen watched as Vanguard 1 was approached by a squadron of human interceptors. The ship's shields flared in recognition, then collapsed under precise attacks. Boarding pods latched onto the hull, and human soldiers streamed inside. On board, Captain Loris was found in the command chamber, eyes wide with confusion. "Commander, what is—" "Captain," Kalen said sharply, "explain why your ship is transmitting strategic coordinates to the Council." Loris faltered. I don't understand. I followed orders. I only—" His voice trailed as he realized the truth. He had been compromised by alien manipulation, subtle influence over months. Memories and perceptions implanted, bending loyalty without his knowledge. Kalen's expression softened, a rare glimpse of humanity breaking through the cold veneer of command. "You were a tool. But tools can be reclaimed. You are not lost, Captain. We will fix this." As the investigation proceeded, another discovery shook the fleet, an ancient signal from deep space, originating near the coordinates of the destroyed Earth. Mira Solon traced it through layers of encrypted codes, ancient languages, and remnants of Earth's technology archives. "Sir, this signal. It's Earth tech. Pre-Council. Highly advanced. Possibly the weapon systems that survived the annihilation." Kalen's eyes burned with renewed intensity. "Show me." The screen illuminated with schematics of massive energy cores, weapon designs capable of tearing through the toughest Council vessels, shield systems that could withstand years of bombardment, and propulsion arrays faster than any known fleet. Humanity had not only endured but left behind a hidden arsenal, waiting for the day it would be needed. "Recovering this technology is our priority," Kalen declared. "We have the knowledge to change the tide of war, but we must act carefully. The Council will stop at nothing to claim or destroy it." As preparations began to integrate the recovered Earth technology into the fleet, a message cut through the tension. The distorted holographic figure of Archon Velith appeared once more, his expression dark, twisted with disbelief. "Humans," Velith hissed. "You dare to meddle with the remnants of your lost home? You have no idea what you are awakening. Do you truly believe you can challenge the Council after 4 millennia of exile?" Kalen stepped forward, voice steady and unyielding. "We are not challenging. We are reclaiming. For every life you erased, for every world you oppressed, humanity will rise. And you will remember the price of arrogance." Velith's eyes narrowed, his pride wounded but his intellect sharp. "Then come, humans! Face the consequences of your hubris." The transmission ended, leaving a silent, simmering threat across the fleet. Kalen turned to his officers. "Prepare for full-scale engagement. This is not a skirmish anymore. This is war. And we are ready." That night, Kalen walked the observation deck alone. Stars stretched endlessly before him, indifferent and cold. He thought of Earth, of its oceans, mountains, and skies, all stolen, erased, reduced to memory. Yet, in that memory, there was power. Legacy. Knowledge. Humanity had survived through ingenuity, cunning, and the relentless will to endure. The galaxy had assumed humans were defeated. They had assumed exile would erase them. They had assumed fear and time would dull their vengeance. They were wrong. Kalen clenched his fists, a quiet, fierce determination burning in his chest. The Council thinks they have won. They have not even begun to understand what humans are capable of. And as the Eclipse and its fleet powered up, integrating lost Earth technology into its systems, Kalen knew one thing with absolute certainty: the Council would soon learn the true meaning of fear. Not the fear of death, but the fear of humanity fully awakened. The first strike had been victory. The second strike would be retribution. And the war had only just begun. The void was alive with fire. Billions of kilometers of emptiness trembled under the sheer might of the human reclamation fleet. The Galactic Council's capital world loomed ahead, a massive fortress of steel, energy shields, and arrogance, its orbital armada forming a nearly impenetrable wall. But humanity had learned patience, cunning, and strategy over 4 millennia of exile, and tonight, every lesson would be tested. "Sir," Lieutenant Rhea Tanis reported, voice taut with anticipation. "Council reinforcements have mobilized. Over 200 capital-class vessels and countless frigates. They've fortified every entry point. Casualties will be high if we engage head-on." Kalen Draven's gaze never wavered from the viewport. His jaw was set, eyes burning with the fire of a species that had survived extinction. "We do not engage head-on. We adapt. We evolve. We strike where they least expect." The human fleet split into 3 vectors. One would act as a decoy, drawing Council fire and attention, while the other 2 advanced in stealth, invisible to sensors thanks to advanced cloaking and Earth-derived tech recovered in Chapter 3. Kalen's plan was audacious, bordering on reckless, but it was humanity. Audacity was in their DNA. "Deploy boarding pods to the inner sanctum," Kalen ordered. "We take the Council from within while the fleet distracts them. Target Archon Velith's flagship. No one escapes." As the decoy fleet engaged the outer defense lines, explosions lit up the darkness. Plasma beams tore through the void, tearing holes in Council shields. The Council responded with fury, underestimating the humans' capacity for calculated aggression. For every human ship disabled, 3 more advanced, shielded vessels replaced its position, moving like a single organism, coordinated, disciplined, unstoppable. Kalen's personal command shuttle broke from the Eclipse, racing toward the heart of the enemy fleet. Inside, he reviewed the schematics of the recovered Earth tech, each system humming with deadly promise. Energy cannons capable of tearing through capital-class hulls, shield generators impervious to conventional plasma, propulsion engines faster than any known Council design. Humanity was no longer the hunted, it was the predator. A sudden alert interrupted his focus. Council interceptors had detected the shuttle. Kalen grinned. "Good. Let them come." The interceptors surged, sleek and lethal. Kalen maneuvered the shuttle with surgical precision, weaving through enemy fire. Plasma bolts missed by inches. The first wave of drones deployed, sabotaging engines and weapon arrays. Council ships faltered. Confusion spread through the enemy fleet. Meanwhile, human boarding teams infiltrated the flagship of Archon Velith. The corridors were a maze of alien architecture, filled with security drones and council soldiers. But humanity's elite operatives moved with lethal grace, disabling systems and clearing paths with minimal casualties. Kalen arrived at the command chamber to find Velith waiting. The Archon's eyes were sharp, calculating, his pride wounded by the audacity of humans who had dared to reach him. "Kalen Draven," Velith hissed. "You have fought well, but you will die here. Your species was never meant to rise again." Kalen's voice was calm, lethal in its confidence. "You were never meant to underestimate us either." The duel began, not just of weapons, but of strategy, intellect, and willpower. Kalen's movements were precise, anticipating Velith's every counter, exploiting weaknesses in centuries-old battle doctrines. Every strike he delivered was a statement. Humanity could not be erased, could not be subdued, could not be defeated. Outside the chamber, the human fleet tore through Council defenses. Recovered Earth weapons fired in synchronization, decimating enemy capital ships with terrifying efficiency. Shields shattered, energy cores exploded, and the Council's pride burned across the void. Inside the flagship, Velith lunged, his alien blade striking with force, but Kalen blocked, countered, and finally disarmed him. The Archon fell to his knees, the symbol of Council arrogance shattered. "Your arrogance cost you everything," Kalen said. "Not just your fleet, not just your worlds, but the lesson you refused to learn: never underestimate humanity." Velith's eyes flickered with a mix of hatred and begrudging respect. "This is not over," he whispered before the human boarding team secured him, ending his reign of terror. Across the battlefield, the remnants of the Council fleet surrendered or fled, their morale broken by the humans' audacity, strategy, and technological superiority. Humanity's victory was total, decisive, and undeniable. Kalen stood on the observation deck of the captured flagship, staring at the stars beyond. The void was quiet now, not from fear, but from awe. Humans had reclaimed what was stolen, avenged the dead, and asserted dominance over the galaxy. Rhea joined him, eyes wide with disbelief and triumph. "Sir, we did it. The Council, they're defeated." Kalen nodded, a rare smile breaking through his stoic demeanor. "Not just defeated. They have learned the cost of underestimating humanity. 4,000 years ago, they erased Earth. Today, we reminded the galaxy what humanity truly is. We endure. We adapt. We conquer. We survive." The human fleet regrouped around the capital world, now under their control. Signals were broadcast throughout the galaxy. The Council had been challenged, and lost. Humanity was no longer a footnote in galactic history. They were a force of reckoning, a species reborn from ashes, tempered by centuries of exile, and sharpened by vengeance. Kalen's eyes lingered on the void, thinking of Earth. Oceans, mountains, skies, all memories preserved in the hearts of humanity. And now, their legacy was secure. The galaxy would never forget Earth. Humanity would never again bow to fear, to annihilation, or to oppression. And somewhere, deep in the darkness of space, the first glimmers of hope for the new human era shone. Kalen turned to his officers, voice strong and resolute. "Prepare for rebuilding. Prepare for expansion. Prepare for humanity's future. This is not the end, it is only the beginning." The stars stretched endlessly, indifferent yet silent witnesses to a species that had refused to be forgotten. And humanity, finally, had returned, not as refugees, not as victims, but as masters of their destiny.